Black Ops 2 came out in 2012 on the PS3, Xbox 360, Wii U, and PC. It was one of those games that everyone in my high school was hype as hell about at the time. Unfortunately, I didn't have any of the next-gen consoles. All I had was a GameCube and Wii. My parents had a computer at the time, but it wasn't powerful enough to play next-gen games. I don't even think it was powerful enough to play last-gen games either. So I went over to a friend's house and played it on his PS3. Of course, I wasn't really interested in playing Black Ops 2. I wanted to play as copies of Modern Warfare 2 and Guitar Hero 3. But we did have some fun with this game. Then after that, we ordered some pizza and watched Forrest Gump. Ah, sweet memories. So, was the game as fun as I remember it being? Well, let's find out. Let's take a look at Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2. Damn it, GameStop! This game was published by Activision and developed by what I consider the second best / worst Call of Duty developer, Treyarch. These guys released 9 games in the Call of Duty franchise, and I only consider 3 of them good. Maybe 3.5, and I'm being generous. But hey, at least they're doing better than Sledgehammer Games. This game has 3 modes to choose from: campaign, multiplayer, and zombies. Like last time, I'll start with the campaign. The game starts with the military rushing to a retirement home to search for a terrorist leader by the name of Raul Menendez. Here we are introduced to David Mason, the son of Alex Mason from the first Black Ops game, and his military partner, Merle Dixon from The Walking Dead. Nah, but seriously, his real name is Harper. They secure the building, but Menendez is nowhere to be found. Instead, they find an elderly Frank Woods, who was also in the first game. He tells them that Menendez is going to attack and they better prepare themselves for war. We then cut to a flashback of Alex spending family time with little David, until he's called into duty by Jason Hudson, who again was also in the first game. The game is set in 2 different time periods: the flashback missions, which take place in the 1980s, and then there's the current day missions, which take place in the year 2025. Damn dude, I can't believe we're finally at this point in time. I remember playing this game at my friend's house and we were just sitting there thinking, man, I wonder what life would be like in the year 2025. Well, it's finally here and man, it's not nearly as cool as we thought it was going to be. Oh my god, it's Back to the Future Part 2 all over again. Yeah, there was no flying cars in the year 2015. Hell, we still don't have flying cars. This is actually one of the reasons why I decided to review this game. I thought it would be fun to compare this game's version of 2025 to real life 2025. Let's start off with the gear that the military uses in this game, and feel free to fact check me on this stuff if I'm wrong. Now, I've never been in the military before, but I'm just going to go on a limb and say that there's no such thing as robotic cockroaches walking around blowing up terrorists. They don't have suits that turn soldiers invisible. They don't have magnetized gloves for wall climbing like Spider-Man, and they don't swing on each other like Spider-Man either. Speaking of spiders, I seriously doubt that the military uses robotic spiders that can scan people's eyes just to access locked rooms. They don't have grenades that can shoot out of their arms. And finally, they don't have wingsuits for gliding in the air. There's a mission in the game where you go on a cruise ship that looks like a massive island. This place has swimming pools, malls, and even dance rooms. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at this, these floating islands don't exist. Let's take a look at Nuketown 2025. I don't know why Treyarch thought the future was going to look similar to the 1940s. I mean, seriously, it looks like something you see off an episode of The Jetsons. Look at these houses. This is what people from the 1940s thought that the future was going to look like. Maybe there's some houses that look like that in Los Angeles or something, but this is definitely not your average American home. We also don't have 1940s vehicles that run exclusively on water. I wish! Can you imagine not having to go to the gas station anymore and buying gas at ridiculous prices?
Honey, can you hand me the water hose? I gotta fill up the car and go to the grocery store.
We also don't have a garage that acts like a car wash. We don't have self-heating driveways that melt the snow during the winter. We don't have microwave grills that cook burgers and hot dogs. Nobody plays shuffleboard in the backyard. We don't have service robots that'll clean up our messes. We don't have home-cooked meals that are created by the touch of a button in kitchens. Dishwashers don't look like that. We don't have box-shaped TVs anymore. Nobody listens to the radio inside their own house anymore either. We don't have bomb shelters that act like secondary homes. At least I don't think we do. We don't have mannequins standing around in our house. Hey look, it's Claude from GTA 3. We don't have towers that look like circus tents. We don't have the golf ball from Disney World outside our house. I mean, good God, it's amazing what they get wrong. Okay, that's all the differences I can think of. Now on to the similarities of real life 2025. For starters, we have optics that can highlight enemy movement, but they look and function a little differently from the game. We also have little armed robots that shoot at terrorists, but again, it's a little different from what the game has. I think the military only uses them for breaching buildings. Most of the weapons are the same thing we have in real life. life. They just look slightly different. We do have cameras outside our house though. They're called ring cams. The only difference is we look at the cameras through our phones. Obviously Los Angeles wasn't attacked by terrorists, but unfortunately it was caught on fire. And there are buildings that are completely destroyed. I've always envisioned Hollywood being burnt to the ground, but not in a literal sense. I meant figuratively speaking. Speaking of Los Angeles, the cars in the game look exactly like the ones in real life. What, no 1940s vehicles this time? We also have ridiculous food prices thanks to inflation. And finally, we still have my favorite website of all time, YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe! The gameplay is pretty much the same as every other Call of Duty game. 2 guns, a combat knife, 2 grenades, and 2 flashbangs. You go through these badass set pieces shooting at terrorists in these linear level designs. But this campaign does something different from the rest of the Call of Duties I've played. They actually let you choose your weapons before starting a mission. This is an awesome feature that for some baffling reason they just never brought back. Well, technically they did bring it back in Infinite Warfare, but it was only for a few missions. Oh wait, Black Ops 3 brought it back too. Jeez, I completely forgot about that. That's probably the only thing good about Black Ops 3's campaign. But seriously, why can't we do this in the other games? I really like and want this feature. Another interesting thing about this game is that it has multiple endings depending on the choices you make during your playthrough. It's similar to Grand Theft Auto 4 where you have certain missions that will let you choose who you want to kill. This actually encouraged me to play through the campaign multiple times. That and the fact that you can choose your weapon loadout. Speaking of which, the weapons in this game are very satisfying to use. This is one of those Call of Duty games that actually gets gun sounds right because they all sound very nice and punchy. The only issue that I have is that some of the guns sound exactly the same. I do wish that they all sounded a little different from each other, but hey, I'll take this over the paintball sounding guns from Advanced Warfare any day of the week. The visuals look pretty good too. Not quite as good as Modern Warfare 2 in my opinion, but then again, it's nowhere close to looking as bad as Advanced Warfare on the PS3. Although I did find some pretty bad vehicle models on one of the multiplayer maps. What happened to the cars in Los Angeles? They look like poorly rendered cars you see on Google Earth. Other than that, Black Ops 2 is a pretty good looking game. I really like the flashback missions where you play as Alex Mason and Frank Woods. The first mission has you searching for Frank Woods after losing contact with him, and when you find him, it turns out he's been locked in a cage for weeks. So you and Hudson have to carry Woods while sneaking around trying to find a radio to call for help. This is also the mission where we're introduced to Raul Menendez, who is the main villain of this game. There's a mission where you're in the desert riding on horseback while fighting off the Russians. Then later on you attempt to blow up a tank when suddenly Kravchenko pops out and attacks you. That actually caught me off guard because I thought he was blown up in the last game. But then I remember that Woods also survived the grenade blast, so I guess that makes sense. There's the mission where you have to take Raul Menendez alive, which is pretty awesome. And then there's the last flashback mission, which I won't spoil, but it was insane. Those were the best missions in my opinion. I thought the current day missions were just okay, to be honest. I did like the cruise ship mission that I mentioned before, but that's about it. They're not bad missions by any means, I just prefer the ones where you play as Mason and Woods. Back in the day, I noticed that you can play this game in 3D. Imagine that, playing a Call of Duty game while wearing 3D glasses. I actually did this one time with a pair of 3D glasses that I got from Burger King. It didn't last very long though because I was sick of everything looking red and blue. Wait a minute, does the PC version have 3D? Oh, damn! I really wanted to see if the 3D would work on the Oculus Rift. I suppose we can talk about the multiplayer now. I'm actually surprised that the multiplayer still works in this game, although the servers don't run as smoothly as they should because there is a lot of lag. There were also times where I kept getting booted out of matches. I don't know why this was happening. If I had to guess, it's probably because the other players had bad Wi-Fi connections. Ignoring all the technical difficulties, I did enjoy playing the multiplayer with real players, even though I sucked at the game. If you've never played Call of Duty multiplayer before, you fight off against other players to earn points. The more points you get, the more your character levels up, which will unlock new weapons, attachments, and perks. Of course, if you don't like playing against other players, there's always the option to play with bots. But like I said in the last Call of Duty review, the only problem I have with playing against bots is that everything is unlocked from the start. So because there's no real goal to work towards, you're just fighting bots for the sake of fighting bots and it can get old very fast. This goes back to the question I asked before. Why can't they bring back combat training from the first Black Ops game? But you know what's incredibly weird? When I went to find a public lobby, combat training was listed as one of the modes. This doesn't make any sense. Why is this option here? Now screw this, I'm heading over to zombie mode. Now just like almost every Call of Duty game ever made, the game only comes with one zombie map and the rest you have to buy with DLC. The zombie map in Black Ops 2 is considered one of the most hated zombie maps in the entire franchise. But what do I think about the map? Well, I do think this map has potential to be better than it actually is. I like the idea of having an open world zombie map. The problem is if you try to leave the area without taking the bus, you get attacked by these creatures who claw at your face until you die. Plus you can't see where the hell you're going because the map is covered in fog. Also, some of the areas have lava scattered around, which is just annoying. If they could just let you explore the map without getting attacked by gremlins, remove the fog, and get rid of the lava, then this map would be amazing. And if that's not bad enough, they added in a stupid boss you have to fight while trying to survive a horde of zombies. Why do they have to overcomplicate the zombie mode? Just keep it simple, for crying out loud. Or if you're gonna have bosses in this game, then at least make it optional. God, you guys ruined zombies. Regardless of all the issues I have with the zombie mode, I do enjoy playing it from time to time. If anybody knows of any mods that can fix the issues that I just mentioned, then please put it in the comments section. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this game. The campaign is great, the multiplayer is good, and the zombie mode is just okay. Overall, do I think Black Ops 2 is a good game? Absolutely. But despite the fact that the game is 12 years old, it still costs $60. Screw you, Activision, I'm not buying an old game for that price. And just like every other Call of Duty game, there's DLC you have to pay for if you want extra multiplayer and zombie maps. Like I said in my last review, this game already feels like it's lacking content and you're still gonna charge us extra money for stuff that should already be in the game? You guys are still greedy assholes. I bet you're all wondering, do I think Black Ops 2 has the best campaign? Oh hell no, Modern Warfare 1 and 2 are the best. Black Ops 1 has the best multiplayer and zombies. Modern Warfare 3 has the best survival mode. And I'm not sure about Spec Ops because I honestly never cared for it. I have thought about giving it another try though. If you guys don't have Black Ops 2 and you're interested in getting it, then I strongly recommend you either wait till it's on sale or buy it on Amazon for a much cheaper price. It's a good game, but it's not worth $60. It wasn't worth it then, and it's not worth it now. Now if you'll excuse me, I gotta go to the gas station. You know, because we still don't have cars that run on H2O.